Hello students, this is Ambuj sir. In continuation of lecture 4, today I intend to start lecture 5 of chapter 2, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Dear students, till now what actually we studied? Yes, we studied the typical structure of a flower. Thereafter, we proceeded with the main theme of the chapter, that is events in sexual reproduction, and of course it was of the flowering plants. Dear students, during sexual reproduction, an organism shows 3 events. Number 1, pre-fertilization. Events. Number 2, fertilization. And the last, number 3, post-fertilization. Events. Dear students, in pre-fertilization events, there are 2 sub-events. One is called gametogenesis. And the other one is called gamete transfer. Gametogenesis we have completed till now. Now we will proceed with gamete transfer, right? So students, in flowering plants there is a specialized method for the transfer of gametes, and that is called pollination. So a question arises, what is pollination? Students, pollination is defined as the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. So just let us understand this with the help of diagram. This is a plant. This is a flower. and here is one more flower. Now here is another plant of the same species. there is a flower here. Right. Now, what I told, transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of the flower is called pollination. So, from this flower, from the anther, the pollen grains are transferred on the stigma of the same flower. So this is pollination, right? One more condition we may observe here, that pollen grains from the anther of this flower, they may be transferred to the stigma of another flower of the same plant. This is also pollination, right? One more condition is there. Yes, in this case or in this situation, the pollen grains from the anther of this flower, they may be transferred to the stigma of another flower which is present on another plant of the same species, right? Okay. Now these all arrows, this is an arrow, this is an arrow, and this is an arrow. These all are showing pollination, right? Now just come to the types of pollination. Types of pollination. Dear students, pollination is basically of two types. Number one, self-pollination. And number 2, cross pollination. Right? Now just concentrate on the illustration again. Just concentrate on this flower. The pollen grains from the anther of this flower, they are being transferred on the stigma of the same flower. Right? So this is called as self-pollination. Right? Here again, just concentrate these two flowers now. Pollen grains from the anther of this flower, they are being transferred onto the stigma of another flower but of the same plant. Here in both the cases, the plant is not changed. A single plant is there. So if this situation is there, where the transfer of the pollen grains from the anther to stigma is being happened on the same plant, that will be called as self-pollination. Right? In this way, self-pollination is of two types. Right? This is a type of self-pollination. Okay, and this is called autogamy. Right? This is another type of self-pollination, and it is called dichynogamy or getinogamy, whatever you can say. Right? Now, concentrate this situation where two plants are being involved. Okay, let us write here first. Two types of pollinations are there when we talk about the self-pollination. One is autogamy, and the next one is called getinogamy. Okay, now consider this case where two plants are being involved. Now here, this type of transfer of pollen grains, it forms the another type of pollination which is called as cross pollination, because here two plants are being involved. The major difference is this one only. When two plants are being involved, then that type of pollination will be called as cross pollination. Otherwise, it will be the self pollination, right? So this is the cross pollination. This arrow is showing cross pollination. Right? Cross pollination, they are also called as allogamy, or we can call them as xenogamy. Right? So these are the alternative names. Cross pollination, they can also be called as allogamy or xenogamy. Now students, this is what would be the name of this figure? It will be types and concept pollination. Right? Now, some important informations regarding pollination. Students, as far as the flower is concerned, a plant may be of two types. Plants with complete flower. One category may be plants with complete flower. Complete flower. What does it mean? Plants with complete flower. Anybody? Yes. If a flower has all the four holes, calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium, then that type of flower will be called as complete flower. Right? So, the other category is plants with incomplete flower. Right? So plants with complete flower will show self as well as cross pollination. Will show self as well as cross pollination. This you will have to learn. Plants with complete flower will show self as well as cross pollination, right? And plants with incomplete flower will show either self pollination or cross pollination. Will show either self pollination or cross pollination. Cross pollination. Right? Now, two conditions are there. In the second category, we find two cases. If the plant is monoecious, what is the meaning of monoecious? If the staminate and pistillate flowers are present on the same plant, then that plant will be called as monoecious. So if the plant is monoecious, then there will be the self pollination. I'm just erasing it. Then there will be self pollination. Now what will be the special category of self pollination? Is it autogamy or geitonogamy? Yes, it is geitonogamy. Right? And if the plant is dioecious, right? Meaning, if the pistillate flowers and staminate flowers, they are found on separate plant body, right? So, there will be the only and only option, and that will be the cross pollination. Why there will be cross pollination only? Yes, is there anybody? Tell me the answer. Because two plants will be involved in that situation. One will be the male plant and other one will be the female plant. Anybody can give me the best examples of the dioecious plants? Yes, in chapter 1 it has been given, papaya and date palm. These are the very famous examples of dioecious plants. And when we talk about monoecious plants, so these are cucurbits and coconuts, right? So these are the conditions which you will have to learn, right, students? So this was all about today's lecture. Thank you.